Coach, Bryan Russ, new career high, 29 goals. I know you've talked a lot about his qualities and everything he brings, but what do you think it is about this year in particular that has helped him reach that new level, 10 years into his career?
I think part of it is he stayed healthier. That's a big part of it, because when you look at some of his games played, if he had played more of the seasons, especially the full seasons, he got some of the COVID years were a little bit different with the number of games that we played, but for a lot of his career here, he's on a 30-plus goal pace, year in and year out. He plays the game hard with a certain level of honesty, and his willingness to block shots and to play in the battle areas. He puts himself in harm's way. And when you play the game the right way, like he does, it's hard to stay healthy because he plays so hard, and his willingness to do a lot of those things where he makes sacrifices physically in order to try to help us win. So he's a terrific hockey player. He just represents everything, I think, that it means to be a Pittsburgh Penguin, with his approach, his work ethic, his passion for the game, and how he plays it. He's a highly intelligent hockey player on both sides of the puck.
A bit of a tough start. What have you seen from Jari that has him better able to move past things like that compared to earlier in the season?
I think Jar's made some big saves for us. We didn't have the start we wanted. We knew they were going to come out hard. They had a tough outing the game before this one. We've all been there. We know what that's like. We knew they were going to come out with urgency. We didn't have the start we wanted, but I give credit to the whole team, starting with Jars, just the resilience, kind of the stick-to-itiveness, not getting down. There's a lot of hockey left. We just got to keep competing, and that's what he's doing. He's competing hard. It's all about the next save, and when you're in that mindset, I think as a player, it's kind of that next play mindset. I think you can stay in the moment, and then you don't get overwhelmed by any of the circumstances around it. If you make a mistake or things don't go your way, you can't allow those things to affect your ability to perform moving forward. And a big part of that is just staying in the moment, and I think Jars is doing a real good job at that.
I can imagine you're pretty happy with the way the team did rally back from that sort of slow start.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously we didn't have the start that we wanted. That's hockey. And so, what I loved about tonight was just the resilience, or the certain resolve, where we didn't let it snowball, and it could have. And so, I give the players a lot of credit. I think there's a certain mindset that's required to win in this league, and it's not always going to go your way. For whatever reason, sometimes, every team in the league faces it where, it doesn't go your way early on. You get down a few goals. Do you have the ability to bounce back? And I think, obviously we've got a lot of leadership in our room. That's a pretty accomplished group. But they also have a wealth of experience to draw on, and they've been on both sides of those types of situations, and so they know how to react. I think we have good leadership. I think those guys set the tone for us. Gino gets a huge goal, for example, that gets it to 2-1. I thought G had a real strong game tonight, but those guys lead the charge for us. Sid makes an impact again. The consistency that he's playing with, but just for me, it's more about the attitude and the mindset that we don't get down when it doesn't go our way. We respond the right way to the adversities, and inevitably they always come. It's just the nature of the sport.
What did you think of Puustinen's game?
I thought Pusti had a solid game. I thought he did some good things 5-on-5. He was skating. I think he sees it pretty good. He thinks the game pretty well. He scores a goal for us on the power play. I thought he was pretty good in that bumper position on Gino's unit. I thought he had a solid game.
Thanks, Coach.